I think that a lot of people know you as like a tough, loud guy, but who's the real David Dweck? What's inside? How did a guy who got fired from his first camp counselor job end up establishing his own summer camp comprising of 850 campers and 130 staff members for the past 17 years?
My first job was at the JCC, and I was actually fired in the middle as a camp counselor in the middle of 10th grade.
Were you fired because you were trying to do things your own way?
I was fired because I don't like to just go along with the flow. I always like to do things differently.
Very ironic.
Yeah, I like to do things a little different. I decided to go to another camp that was only a few blocks away. And that's really where things really started. I mean, I didn't make a lot of money. We made $237 after taxes. But the real break came from when the camp director came up to me and said, you know, there's a kid that needs extra sports lessons. He's a second grader. And the father's, he'll be willing to pay you $25 an hour if you work with his kid. So I took the number, I made the phone call, and I started giving lessons 2 or 3 times a week. And was amazing. I made more money than I made in camp that summer. But then I realized, oh my God, I'm really good at this. I could do this one-on-one. I could teach kids how to play. I realized I could do more. By the end of that summer, I got a few more lessons, his cousins, and started playing baseball with them and teaching them how.
And this is all just word of mouth?
All word of mouth. I had a little business card, and that's how it started. I went, I saw, passed it around. There was no cell phones. It was just word of mouth. And, you know, could you do this? Could you do that? That summer, I switched to a different camp. And I was like, wait, I could do this better than this camp also. There's like no sports in there. They're like, you know, there's nobody teaching anything. If you're a good athlete, great. If you stink, you don't get the ball. I'm like, I can do this better. And as I built maybe 20, 30, 40 people, then I started to do 1-week clinics. 1 week before camp started, 1 week after. And I saw that I can make a difference. And
building little by little. Now you go to college.
I had a marketing professor that was the head of marketing for Johnson & Johnson. And she gave us a project. She said, I want you to think of something that you want to do and developed a marketing proposal with these 5 features. Basically, wrote up the proposal about having my own summer camp. But what I did was I said, you know what? I see all the camps are $2,700, $2,800. You know what? I could do this cheaper. I'll do it for $1,000 less. So I put together the proposal. Great, I got an A on it. I don't think I ever got an A in my life on anything, okay? And I finished that proposal. I described the market share. I described the lowballing the market. Why is a sports camp so special? People weren't doing things like that then.
Was when you were putting together this project, was this real in your head of saying, I'm going to do this, or you're just thinking, okay, this is my assignment, so I'll just do the assignment well?
It was real. When I finished it, and then I got the A, I think it almost gave me the confidence to say, hey, wait, this can happen. I started the conversation with the school that I graduated from, Hillel Yeshiva out in Deal, and the president of the board was my high school coach. He said, listen, I have this crazy idea. I want to do this. You're not using the school in the summertime. Would you help me, get the school? He goes, listen, it's a board decision, and I'll let you speak before them and make your pitch. I didn't expect it to happen that fast. That summer, I sat with the board. I'm 19 years old. I'm sitting there, I'm making my pitch, I'm passionate. Came out, he says, you lost the vote 5-4. I already had the t-shirts printed for camp and had the brochure ready. I was very confident, given the connection I had in the school, that I was going to get this off the ground. Interestingly enough, I went back to school that year, so I decided to change my major to psychology. And I said, you know what, maybe for now, maybe I'll keep pursuing my dream of a camp, but maybe, I'll do social work for a little bit. But I never forgot the dream. I would always call up and do research around the area and see if any buildings or places would come about. And and we'll go from there.
What now that you're studying social work, what was your plan once you graduate college?
So my plan was to go to social work school, eventually maybe open a private practice of some sort. And somehow I just kept on pushing and did it. And I had to work multiple jobs. There was a time I was probably working 7 days a week. I was working in a synagogue on Saturdays to run a youth minyan. I was doing Sunday programs, and I was working 5 days a week in some community social service agencies.
So you're in your mid-20s, and all at once you're working at a social services organization as a youth director. You're running a youth group in a local synagogue, and you still, in the back of your head, have this dream of having your own camp.
Yeah, so I had like 5 or 6 phone numbers I would call every summer. Then at 23, 24, I got married. I couldn't really follow it. I needed to make a living, so I really stuck fully with the social work. So I sort of shelved the camp idea, for several years, still keeping in touch with contacts and keeping my eye out. And I stayed in the camp fold. People kept on telling me at 23, you can't be a camp counselor forever. And I said, I think I can. I'm not sure how it's gonna work yet. And then I just did the social work thing until I got to 29, 30 years old, and I finally made the call, and the guy said the place is available, and I negotiated a deal. I think it was in December, and I sat with Albert Hakim, who works at Laserwave, great advertising company. He came into my living room in Brooklyn, and I said, this is what I want to do. And he was doing brochures for many different companies. I said, I need something. I need a tagline. I need something to work. This is what I want to do. And at the time, the most popular sports show besides ESPN, some of their shows, Fox was starting to come on the scene. It was called The Best Damn Sports Show, period. And he goes, I have the line. He goes, the best sports camp, period, $18.50. At the time, camps were charging $2,700, $2,800. And that was the line. He devised the ad. I called up the Image magazine, a community magazine, said, I want the back cover. It came out the weekend of the Super Bowl at the time. And I remember it so clearly. I mean, it's almost, sports camp, unveils itself during the Super Bowl. I put the ad out. They got the magazines in their house on Saturday. Sunday, the phone calls started to fly in. I'm in the middle of watching the Patriots game. Really an epic game. I was on the phone the entire time. From 4 o'clock all the way till 9:30, 9:40, the calls just kept on coming in. I didn't even know what to do. People were asking me questions, and I don't know what I was doing. I don't even know what I was saying. Okay, if you're interested, I'm gonna put your name down and your phone number. I'm like, okay, what do I do now? I had no idea, like, what do I do with these names? So I started to put them together, put a letter together that I would mail to the parents at the time. And I was astonished to realize that there was so much interest. And within 2 months, I had 140 kids. I couldn't believe it. I think the price made a difference. It was a lot cheaper. But I think the whole sports camp idea was like, wait, this is exciting, this is new. People love new things.
Did you have a staff?
I had no one hired yet at the time. I know at some point I would have had to talk to counselors. My first hire at the time was a guy by the name of Al Falick. He's like, I don't know what you're doing, but I like it, I'm excited. He was 19. And he's like, okay, I want to work, I'll be your assistant, whatever it is, we'll figure it out. And then we started to interview a few months later. I knew what we needed, I just didn't know like fully how to make things work. So I was learning things for the first time. And just went with it. And somehow it miraculously came together. I'll never forget my first day when the buses pulled up. It was the most exciting moment. It was like, I can't believe this. I waited like 12 years and we finally opened. So there was nothing like it. I was like, there was no way. And there was other camps trying to shut me down or badmouth me. And I'm like, once I get this open, no one's gonna stop me.
Was there ever times where in your head you had a doubt in terms of anything that you were doing?
3 years in, I didn't understand why I kept on losing money, right? So camp was at $18.50, and by year 3, I was charging about $2,200 or $2,300. I raised it a few hundred, but I was still losing money. I didn't understand it.
So after all the work you put into the camp, and at the end of the summer, you lost money.
I was losing money the first couple of years. And keep in mind, I took 0 loans. I started the business on $5,000 on a credit card to pay for the Image magazine. That's it, and the advertising guy. That's it. That's all the money. I didn't borrow any money from anybody. I sat with 2 investors earlier on, and they just didn't feel confident in the product enough. And I wasn't even asking a lot of money at the time. And it ended up being that, I just didn't go with it. And then I realized I wasn't, and then someone said, I have a friend. Maybe you could sit down with him. He's very good with numbers. Go over your numbers. I didn't know what an Excel spreadsheet was at the time. I didn't know any of those things. I'm doing bare bones, piece of paper, sending bills out, taking payment. So a guy goes, let's sit down with sit down with a friend of mine. He'll help you. I go over all the numbers and I realize the more kids I took, I was losing $250 a kid. And I'm like, whoa. So I got a close friend of mine at the time. His name was Sammy Haddad. He says, you have to charge this amount. You got to go up to the exact number that the other camps are at. You're in your 3rd or 4th year. Go to 27, 28. When I hired the price, I wasn't sure how good my product was. I know what I was doing, and I know kids were enjoying it, and I was doing a combination of overnights and trips and sports. And I decided at the time, I'm going to raise the price. And all of a sudden, my enrollment jumped from like 120 to 220. And I was astonished. I started in 2004, and people were signing up. And I just kept on plugging away. And, I remember at the time deciding, I was getting there with the boys a little bit. I didn't do anything for girls, and there seems to have been a market. Everybody kept on saying to me, do something for the girls, do something for the girls. So I said, okay. And, my wife always had this idea that, let's do a fine and a performing arts program. And, I said, okay, you know what? Let's throw it out there. I approached a close friend of mine at the time, and she just took it to a whole nother level. And there was this market. Oh, we're not going to just go to camp and just do a bunch of activities and play outside. We're going to learn how to do real art projects. We're going to learn how to perform. We're going to learn how to sing and dance and, really build up the skills, which goes along my mantra the whole time.
How different was the camp that you ended up creating from the assignment you did in college?
The assignment in college was more of how I was going to market it. I don't think it changed. My mantra is still to build kids' life skills, right? Through sports instruction and through other areas, even the arts. Every time a kid is working on their basketball skill or their art skill or their drama skill or their dance skill, they're always building their confidence. So I really started to work on my next phase of my plan.
Got to move.
I got to move in a different direction. So I started working on this plan in August to get this new beautiful school in Tinton Falls called the Randy School. Had all the amenities inside and out. They have everything, five tennis courts and a 25-meter pool and amazing outdoor grounds, baseball fields and classrooms and, anything I could imagine. So now that when I think about what did I envision when I opened up my camp, I started in a warehouse, okay, that barely had windows. And now I'm in the Taj Mahals of camps, which everything that you could imagine is there and more. And, could I say I dreamt that up, when I was 18 and I wrote the proposal? No, but that was my direction. It was always about the kids. Whatever building I am has always been about mortar and bricks. But this now combines the best facility with the best program, and it's a lethal combination.
So you had a lot of obstacles that you ran into, but you don't even know that you ran into them.
Like what?
People telling you that you were going to fail, that it was a bad idea, that you were voted, that you were too young to do it, that the investors said we have no confidence in this, that your closest friends told you you're not making any money, you're losing money, and none of these things got you down at all.
No, my parents always told me I could never hear the word no.
I think that a lot of people know you as a tough, loud guy, but who's the real David Dweck? What's inside?
It's a great question. Someone just likes to have fun, cares about where people are at in their life, no matter what age they are, genuinely interested in their lives, and someone that's just, I would say I'm a very compassionate person. People may not always see that out of the exterior, because you have to play a certain role when you're running a camp for 700-800 kids. But deep down, I really care. And if I could extend myself to people, I try to. And I really care. People said I couldn't be a camp counselor, past 21, 22. When I got married, I was still working in camp, but I was a worker, But I'll say this, my wife, believed in it from the beginning, all the time. And no matter what we went through, she rolled with it. And I was making $25,000 when I was getting married. And my in-laws were concerned about how I was going to make a living. I just told them, I'm going to make it happen. I don't know how yet. It's going to work. Just trust me. And it worked. It worked. Yeah. It did. It did.